The days after the truth felt slow and heavy. The house was quiet, but not peaceful. It was the kind of quiet that hurts your ears. The kind of quiet where every small sound feels loud. Her mother did not come back home. She called Ava every night, but she never asked about her father. She never said his name. Ava understood. Some pain is too deep for words. Her father stayed inside most of the time. He did not go out except for work. He did not watch television. He did not smile anymore. He looked smaller somehow, like the weight of his secret had been holding him up, and now that it was gone, he had nothing left. One evening, Ava came home from college and found him sitting alone at the dining table. The lights were off except for one small lamp. He was staring at a family photo, the same one that used to hang proudly on the wall. Now it was taken down and placed face down on the table. "You can turn it over," Ava said softly. He looked up at her. "I don't know if I deserve to look at it anymore," he replied. Ava felt something twist inside her. She was angry at him, yes, but seeing him like this was still painful. "Mom called," she said. "She is thinking about divorce." The word stayed in the air for a moment. Divorce sounded cold, final. He closed his eyes slowly. "I expected that," he said, "but expecting something does not make it easier." Ava walked into the kitchen and poured herself a glass of water. "Are you going to fight for her?" she asked. "I don't know if I have the right," he answered. That answer made her turn toward him. "For once in your life," she said, "stop thinking about what you deserve. Think about what she deserves." He did not reply. Later that night, her mother came to collect some clothes. It was the first time her parents were in the same room since the confrontation. The air felt tight. Her mother moved quietly through the bedroom, placing her things into a suitcase. Her father stood near the door. "I never wanted to hurt you," he said. Her mother stopped packing. "But you did," she replied calmly. Her voice was not loud. It was tired. "I loved you," he continued. "You loved comfort," she answered. That sentence cut deeper than any scream. Ava stood in the hallway listening. She had never seen her mother this strong. Her mother zipped the suitcase and walked past him. "I cannot stay in a house built on lies," she said. Before leaving, she looked at Ava. "You can come with me," she said gently. Ava looked at her father. He was not crying. He was just standing there, empty. "I'll stay tonight," Ava replied softly. Her mother nodded and left. The door closed, and the house felt even colder than before. That night, Ava heard her father crying in the living room. Not loud, but enough for her to know. She did not go to him. Some wounds need silence. The next week, news spread among relatives. Phone calls came, questions, whispers, judgment. Her father stopped answering most of them. He looked tired all the time. Ava noticed he stopped wearing his wedding ring. That small detail hurt more than she expected. Everything was falling apart. Not just their family, but the image of it, the idea of it. One afternoon, Ava received a message from an unknown number. It was from the other woman. "We need to talk," the message said. Ava stared at the screen. She did not reply immediately, but she knew the story was not finished yet. Two families had been living in silence for years. Now both were broken, and somewhere 2 children were also confused. She thought about the boy who ran into her father's arms. She thought about the little girl who smiled at him. They were innocent, just like she was. That realization hurt in a different way. This was not a simple betrayal. It was a web of emotions. Love, fear, selfishness, weakness, all mixed together. That evening, Ava sat next to her father. For a long time, neither spoke. Finally, she said something simple. "You lost us because you were afraid to lose them." He nodded slowly. "Yes. And now," he looked at his hands. "Now I have lost everyone." The truth was harsh, but it was real. Ava stood up and walked toward the stairs. Before going to her room, she paused. "You did not just break a promise," she said quietly. "You broke a home." He did not answer. There was nothing left to say. The family had not exploded in one loud moment. It had slowly cracked, and now the pieces were scattered everywhere. Part 6 did not end with screaming. It ended with silence. And sometimes, silence is the loudest sound of all. The house felt different after that night. No one spoke during breakfast. No one asked how the other was feeling. Even the sound of spoons touching plates felt too loud. Her mother's eyes were swollen from crying. Her father looked like he had not slept at all. Ava felt tired, but her mind was wide awake. The truth was out, but it was not complete. There were still questions, and Ava wanted answers. That evening, her mother left the house to stay at her sister's place for a few days. She said she needed space. She could not breathe inside those walls anymore. Now it was just Ava and her father. The silence between them was heavy. He sat on the couch, staring at nothing. She stood near the window, looking outside at the dark sky. "Tell me everything," Ava said finally. Her voice was calm, but firm. He did not look at her at first. "There is nothing more to tell," he replied quietly. "That's not true," she said. "How did it start? Why did it not end?" He took a deep breath. "It started before I married your mother," he said slowly. "I met her during a work project in another city." Ava listened carefully. She was kind. We spent time together. I was young and confused. I did not think about the future. "And then?" Ava asked. "She became pregnant," he said. The words felt heavy. "I was scared. I did not know what to do. My parents wanted me to marry your mother. Everything was already planned." "So you chose both," Ava said quietly. He nodded. "At first, I thought I could manage it. I thought I could help from a distance. Send money. Visit sometimes." "But you didn't stay distant," she said. "No," he admitted. "When I held my son for the first time, I could not walk away." Ava closed her eyes for a second. "You had a choice," she said. "You always had a choice." "I know," he whispered. "Did she know about us?" Ava asked. He shook his head. "She believed I was going to leave your mother." Ava felt anger rise inside her. "So you lied to her too?" "Yes." The word was soft, but honest. For the first time, he was not defending himself. He was not making excuses. He looked broken. "I kept telling myself I would fix it," he said. "Every year I promised myself this would be the last year. But every year it became harder." "Because the children were growing," Ava said. He nodded. "They called me Daddy. They waited for me. I could not disappear." "And what about us?" she asked. He finally looked at her. "I never stopped loving you." Ava felt tears in her eyes again. "But love is not enough," she said. He had no answer to that. She sat down across from him. "Did you ever feel guilty?" she asked. "Every single day," he replied. "Then why smile at us like everything was normal?" "Because I wanted at least one place where I was not failing," he said. The sentence made Ava pause. Failing. He saw himself as a failure. But in trying not to fail one family, he failed both. "Does she know now?" Ava asked. "Yes," he said. "After last night, I told her everything." "And?" She was silent. Then she said she never wants to see me again. Ava felt something strange. Not happiness. Not sadness. Just emptiness. Two families. Both broken. All because one man was afraid to choose. "I thought I was protecting everyone," he said. "You were protecting yourself," Ava replied softly. The truth hurt, but it was clear. He did not want to lose anyone. He did not want to face pain. So he created a bigger pain. Ava stood up slowly. "Do you know what hurts the most?" she asked. He looked at her quietly. "It's not that you loved someone else," she said. "It's that you lied every single day. You looked at us and lied without fear." Tears rolled down his face. "I am sorry," he whispered, but sorry felt small. Too small for 7 years of secrets. Ava walked toward the stairs. Before going up, she turned back. "Those children," she said. "They did nothing wrong." "I know," he replied. "Neither did we." He lowered his head. That night, Ava lay in her bed again. But this time, her thoughts were clearer. The truth was painful, but it was complete now. Her father was not a monster. He was a weak man who made selfish choices. And those choices destroyed 2 homes. Ava realized something important. Secrets do not stay small. They grow. They spread. And one day they explode. And when they do not just hurt one person. They hurt everyone. The shocking truth was no longer hidden. Now the real question was not what happened. The real question was what would happen next. Ava did not cry the next morning. She did not scream. She did not tell her mother. She simply woke up with a calm face and a storm inside her heart. Something had changed in her. She was no longer confused. She was no longer unsure. Now she had seen everything with her own eyes. And she was ready. That evening the house felt heavy. Her mother was cooking dinner. The smell of rice and spices filled the air. The television was playing softly in the living room. Her father came home at his usual time. He smiled when he entered. "Long day," he said, placing his bag down. Ava looked at him quietly. She noticed how normal he looked, how relaxed, how easy it was for him to live like this. Dinner was silent. Her mother talked about small things, neighbors, groceries, a sale at the market. Her father nodded and responded casually. Ava barely touched her food. Her hands were under the table, holding something tightly. The photos. She had taken them from the attic that afternoon. All of them. After dinner, her mother began clearing the table. Her father stood up to go to his study. That was the moment. "Dad," Ava said softly. Her voice was steady. He stopped and turned. "Yes. Sit down. Please." There was something in her tone that made him pause. He slowly sat back in his chair. Her mother looked confused. Ava placed the photos on the table. One by one. Slowly. The sound of each photo touching the table felt louder than it should have. Her father's face changed instantly. The color left his skin. His eyes froze on the pictures. Her mother stepped closer. "What is this?" she asked. She picked up one photo. Her hands began to tremble. A woman, 2 children, her husband, smiling together. "This is not real," her mother whispered. But the pictures were very real. Ava looked directly at her father. "I followed you," she said calmly. "I saw everything." The room felt smaller. The air felt tight. Her father tried to speak, but no words came out. "Who are they?" her mother asked again, louder this time. Her voice was shaking now. Silence filled the house. Then finally he spoke. "They are my family." The words hit the room like a loud crash. Ava's mother stepped back as if someone had pushed her. "What do you mean your family?" she asked, almost unable to breathe. He closed his eyes for a moment. "I never meant for this to happen," he said quietly. But that sentence only made everything worse. "You never meant?" Ava's voice broke for the first time. "You never meant to lie for years?" Tears rolled down her mother's face. "How long?" she asked. He hesitated. 7 years. 7 years. Ava felt her legs become weak. 7 years of birthdays. 7 years of school events. 7 years of family dinners. All while he had another life. Another home. Another set of children calling him daddy. Her mother began crying openly now. "You destroyed us," she whispered. "I tried to fix it," he said quickly. "I tried to end it many times." "But you didn't," Ava said firmly. Her eyes were filled with pain. "You chose both. And now you have nothing." He looked at her with sadness. "I love you," he said. She shook her head slowly. "You love too easily," she replied. "And too many." The truth was out now. There was no hiding. No more secret phone calls. No more work trips. Everything stood naked on the table between them. The perfect image of their family was shattered. Broken into pieces. Her mother walked to the living room and sat down slowly. She looked lost. Like someone who just woke up from a long dream and found out everything was fake. Ava felt pain for her mother more than for herself. She could handle betrayal. But seeing her mother break was harder. Her father tried to move closer to them. But Ava stepped in front of him. "Don't," she said quietly. You don't get to comfort us now." He stood still. For the first time in her life, Ava saw fear in her father's eyes. Not fear of being caught, but fear of losing everything. The house that once felt warm now felt cold. The walls that once protected them now felt like witnesses. Witnesses to a truth that had been hiding for too long. That night, nobody slept. Her mother cried in her room. Her father sat alone in the dark. And Ava stared at the ceiling again. But this time, there were no questions. Only reality. The secret was no longer hidden in a box. It was out in the open. And now, their family would never be the same again. The next few days felt heavy. Ava acted normal, but inside she was not calm. She spoke less at dinner. She watched more. She listened more. Her father did not notice the change in her. Or maybe he did, but he chose to ignore it. On Wednesday evening, something unusual happened. After dinner, her father's phone rang. He looked at the screen and quickly stood up. "I'll take this outside," he said softly. He never did that before. Ava felt her heart jump. She waited a few seconds, then quietly walked toward the window near the living room. The curtains were slightly open. Through the glass, she could see him standing near the garden. He was not talking like he usually did. His voice was low, gentle, almost loving. Ava could not hear everything, but some words reached her. "Yes, I miss you too." Silence. "I know. I will come soon." Another pause. "No, don't be upset. I promise." Ava felt her breath stop. "Miss you? Come soon?" Who was he talking to? Her hands became cold. Her body felt weak. But she forced herself to stay there and listen. Then she heard something that made her heart sink. "Tell them Daddy loves them." Daddy. The word echoed in her mind. Daddy. Not uncle. Not friend. Daddy. Ava stepped back slowly. She felt like she was going to fall. Her father had just called himself Daddy to someone else. Her father. The man she trusted most. The man she thought belonged only to her and her mother. She quickly returned to her room before he came back inside. She sat on her bed, staring at the wall. Her thoughts were loud. Maybe she heard wrong. Maybe it was just her imagination. But deep down, she knew what she heard. Later that night, she heard her father's car start. She looked at the clock. 10:45 p.m. Where was he going at this time? She quietly went to the window and watched his car disappear down the street. Her heart told her one thing: follow him. She did not think twice. She grabbed her jacket and car keys. Her mother was already asleep. Ava moved quietly and left the house. She kept a safe distance as she followed his car. Her hands were shaking on the steering wheel. The streets were dark. Streetlights passed above her like silent witnesses. After 20 minutes, his car stopped in front of a small house in another part of the city. Ava parked a little far away. Her heart was beating so loud she thought someone might hear it. She watched carefully. The door of the house opened, and two children ran outside. The same children from the photos. The boy jumped into her father's arms. The little girl hugged his waist tightly. And then, the woman came out. The same woman from the pictures. She smiled at him. Not like a stranger, not like a friend, but like someone who belonged to him. Ava felt tears fill her eyes. She was not imagining anything. This was real. Her father hugged the children. He kissed the little girl's forehead. He laughed at something the boy said. He looked happy, natural, comfortable, like this was home. Ava's chest hurt. This was not a business trip. This was not helping someone. This was not charity. This was a second life. She watched as they all went inside the house together. The lights turned on. Through the window, she saw them sitting at a table. The woman served food. Her father helped the children with something. They looked like a family, complete family. Ava's vision became blurry from tears. She felt something break inside her. Not just trust, not just love, but something deeper. Her identity. Who was she in his life? Was she the first daughter, or just another part of his divided heart? She thought about her mother. Did she know? Or was she also living inside a lie? The cold night air touched Ava's face. but she did not feel it. She felt empty. She stayed there for almost an hour watching the house from far away. She wanted to run to the door and scream. She wanted to ask him why. She wanted to understand. But she stayed in the car. Silent. Broken. After some time, she saw the lights turn off. Her father came out alone and got into his car. Ava quickly wiped her tears and started her engine. She followed him back home. He arrived as if nothing happened. As if he had just returned from a normal meeting. When he entered the house, he looked calm. Ava waited in her room. A few minutes later, her phone buzzed. A message from him. Working late. Don't wait up. Love you. She stared at the screen. Working late. Love you. The lies were so easy for him. So smooth. So practiced. Ava finally understood something painful. Her father was not just hiding a secret. He was living inside it. And now she had seen it with her own eyes. There was no going back. The secret phone call was not just a mistake. It was proof. Proof that her life was built on something fragile. And very soon, that fragile world was going to collapse. That night, Ava did not sleep. The box was back in its place in the attic. The photos were hidden again. Everything in the house looked normal. Her mother was watching television. The kitchen lights were on. The clock was ticking like always. But inside Ava, nothing was normal. She lay on her bed and stared at the ceiling. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the photos again. Her father smiling. The unknown woman. The two children holding his hands. Her chest felt heavy. She kept telling herself maybe there was another explanation. Maybe it was a charity family. Maybe he was helping someone. Maybe those children were cousins. But deep inside, she knew the truth was not that simple. Around midnight, she heard the front door open softly. Her father had returned from work. She got up quietly and opened her bedroom door a little. From the dark hallway, she watched him. He looked tired. He loosened his tie and walked into the kitchen. He poured himself a glass of water and stood there silently. For a moment, Ava saw something she had never noticed before. He looked different, not like the strong, confident father she always knew. He looked worried. He checked his phone quickly. Then he typed a message. After that, he deleted something. Then he typed again. Ava felt her heart beat faster. Who was he messaging so late at night? Suddenly, he looked toward the hallway. She quickly closed her door and stepped back. Her hands were shaking. The next morning at breakfast, everything felt strange. Her mother was making tea. Her father was reading the newspaper. Ava sat at the table watching him carefully. He smiled at her. "Good morning, sweetheart," he said gently. She forced a small smile. "Good morning." The same voice. The same face. But now she was seeing him with different eyes. She noticed small things she had never noticed before. How he avoided looking at her mother for too long. How he kept checking his phone under the table. How he quickly changed the subject when her mother asked about his next work trip. Work trip. That word hit her mind like a sharp sound. Her father traveled to another city almost every month. He always said it was for business. Sometimes he stayed 2 or 3 days. Ava never questioned it. She trusted him. Now those trips felt like secrets. After breakfast, her father left for work. Her mother went to the market. The house was quiet again. Ava walked slowly into her father's study room. She had never entered this room without permission before. Felt wrong. But what she saw in the attic felt worse. She opened drawers carefully. Files, bills, office papers. Everything looked normal. Then she found a small envelope at the back of a drawer. Her hands felt cold again. She opened it. Inside were hotel receipts. Same hotel name. Same city. Different dates. Every single month. For the past 5 years. 5 years. That meant this was not a mistake. Not something new. It had been happening while they celebrated birthdays. While they had family dinners. While they took photos together. Ava felt tears finally fall down her face. Her father had lived 2 lives. And he had done it calmly. Carefully. Like an actor playing 2 roles. She suddenly remembered her 16th birthday. He had promised to come home early. but he arrived late that night. He said his meeting ran long. She had cried that day because she felt he forgot about her. Now she wondered, was he even in the same city that day? Her heart felt like it was breaking slowly. She sat down on the chair in his study. The walls of the room felt like they were closing in. She thought about her childhood. All the times she told her friends, "My father is my hero." All the times she defended him when people said businessmen cannot be trusted. She felt foolish, angry, sad, confused. How could someone be two people at the same time? The loving father at home, and another man somewhere else. Was his smile real? Were his hugs honest? Or was everything just a performance? Ava stood up and looked around the study room. There was a family photo on the wall. Her mother sitting beside her father. Ava standing between them, all three smiling. It looked perfect. But now she wondered how many lies were hiding behind that smile. Her phone buzzed suddenly. It was a message from her father. "Busy day today. I might be late. Love you." 3 simple words. Love you. Ava stared at the screen for a long time. Did he send the same message to someone else too? Did those other children also receive a love you from him today? Her heart felt like it was being torn into 2 pieces. For the first time in her life, she did not feel safe in her own home. The image of her perfect father was cracking. Slowly, painfully, and she knew this was only the beginning. The truth was still hiding, and she was going to find it. It was a quiet Sunday afternoon. The house felt calm and slow. Soft sunlight was coming through the windows, and everything looked normal. Ava did not know that this day would change her life forever. Her mother asked her to clean the attic. It was something they had been planning to do for months. The attic was full of old things. Broken chairs, dusty boxes, school books from many years ago, and old clothes that nobody wore anymore. Ava did not like going into the attic. It always felt strange. The air was heavy and smelled old. The wooden floor made small cracking sounds when she walked. But she took a deep breath and climbed the narrow stairs. When she reached the top, she turned on the small yellow light. Dust floated in the air. It felt like she was walking inside forgotten memories. She started moving things slowly. She cleaned shelves. She opened old boxes. Some were filled with childhood toys. Some had old photo albums from family trips. She smiled when she saw a picture of herself as a little girl sitting on her father's shoulders. He was laughing in that photo. He looked happy. Ava always believed her father was a good man. He worked hard. He never missed her birthday. He helped her with school when she was younger. She trusted him more than anyone. After cleaning for almost an hour, she became tired. She wiped sweat from her forehead and moved an old suitcase that was pushed into a dark corner. That was when she noticed something strange. Behind the suitcase, hidden near the wall, was a small wooden box. It was not covered in dust like everything else. It looked like someone had placed it there carefully. It was small, dark brown, and old. But what made her stop breathing for a moment was the small metal lock on it. Why would someone lock a box and hide it in the attic? Her heart began to beat a little faster. She picked it up carefully. Felt heavier than it looked. She shook it gently. Something inside moved. Ava looked around. The attic was silent. Only the sound of her breathing filled the space. She told herself it was probably nothing important. Maybe old papers. Maybe money. Maybe something private. But something inside her did not feel calm. She turned the box around in her hands. As she lifted it slightly, she felt something taped underneath. Her fingers slowly touched a small piece of tape. And under the tape was a tiny key. Her hand froze. Why would someone hide the key right under the box? That meant whoever hid it did not want others to find it easily. But they also did not want to lose the key. Ava swallowed slowly. Her mind began to race. Was it her mother's box? Or her father's? She suddenly remembered something. A few months ago, she had seen her father coming down from the attic late at night. When she asked him what he was doing, he simply said he was looking for old files. At that time, she did not think much about it. But now it felt different. Her fingers were shaking slightly as she removed the tape and held the small key. She stared at the lock. This was the moment she could walk away. She could put the box back. She could pretend she never saw it. But curiosity was stronger than fear. Slowly, she pushed the key into the lock. Click. The sound echoed louder than it should have. She closed her eyes for 1 second, then slowly opened the lid. Inside were photographs. Just photos. She let out a small breath of relief at first. But that relief lasted only 2 seconds. The first photo showed her father. He looked younger, but not too young. And he was not alone. Next to him stood a woman Ava had never seen before. The woman was smiling. Her father had his arm around her shoulders. They looked close, very close. Ava felt confusion rising in her chest. She quickly picked up another photo. This time, her father was sitting at a table with 2 children, a boy and a girl. They were laughing. A birthday cake was in front of them. The little girl was holding his hand. Ava's stomach dropped. She stared at the children. They looked around her age, maybe a little younger. She flipped through more photos. Beach trips, park visits, school events. In every picture, her father looked happy, comfortable, like he belonged there, like that was his family. Her hands became cold. Her breathing became heavy. This was not old history. The children were growing in each photo. Different ages, different years. That meant this was not something from long ago. This was recent, very recent. Ava felt like the floor under her feet had disappeared. Her father had another family, not in the past, but now. Tears slowly filled her eyes, but she did not let them fall yet. Her mind was asking 1,000 questions. Who were they? Did her mother know? How long had this been happening? Was everything she believed about her father a lie? She looked at one last photo. Her father was standing between the 2 children, his arms arrow,